sometimes lose track of time. So yeah, it was a really good call, and I'm really excited for him. But glad to be here with you. Welcome to Thursday morning, December 5th, Coffee with Coach Allan. We do this every morning, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. or a few minutes after, like we did today. But we do this every day. And this week, we've been talking about information that we get in our body that kind of signals how your body should operate. And, this is our food, this is our movement, this is our sleep. We've already talked about. Today, we're going to talk about stress levels, and tomorrow, we're going to talk about self talk. They're semi related issues in that a lot of what we deal with stress is really more about our perception of stress uh, for the most part. There's a physiological perspective to stress, but most of the stress we end up talking about from the perspective of it harming our body tends to be the emotional and psychological types of stress. It's not always the physical stress like we would from like a workout and things like that. Those physical stresses are often deemed hormetic or beneficial stresses. So you'll hear people use phrases like good stress and bad stress. And it's true. There are stresses that we want to put our body through as we go, and that helps our body improve because there's the stressor, and then there's the effect our body does. So stress stimulates our body to then react, and that reaction that our body takes allows us to get stronger, build stamina, do some pretty cool things. We do need stress. So stress is not something that you should just readily avoid. Stress can be a very good thing, and in fact is a very good thing a lot of the time. The problem we deal with today is that stress is like a permanent thing. It's like a fixture. We were not built for that. We were built for the walking through the woods, and there's a bear. We hear the bear. We know the bear's close, and we have this stress reaction. That stress reaction releases a bunch of chemicals in our body, hormones, and those hormones get us ready for basically one of three things. It's a fight, flight, or freeze. Um, and that's good because we need that little jolt to be ready to act. That's going to keep us alive. Again, I've said this a couple times over the course of the last few days. Our body only cares about keeping us alive. Doesn't care how fat you are, doesn't care about anything else but keeping you alive. And so, from this perspective, that jolt of energy, that jolt of basically cortisol, is there to keep you alive. Now, what we didn't expect was to be walking around bears all the time, where there's always bears, there's always something to scare us, there's always something on us. And that creates a problem in that we end up with elevated cortisol levels. So, your stress level as a whole is putting pressure on your system. It's communicating to your body that things are not good. Now, I am the type of person that I feel better after I train. So if I go do a heavy training session, I throw heavy weights around, I feel great. It reduces my perception of stress, and that helps me a lot. Now, what I have to pay attention to, though, is that is still stress. And so my perception of the emotional stress and the psychological stress and all that may dip down as the hormones and the feel good neurochemicals are going up. But the problem is, I'm still under that stress if I'm under that stress. So, what we want to look at with stress is if we can avoid a stress, we should. I mean, not a workout stress. Again, if it's the physical, hermetic type of stress, we definitely want some of that. But we have to be cognizant of the other stresses in our lives. And so if we're dealing with a ton of stress, sometimes a hard workout might not be in your best interest. You might be better served with a massage and a hot bath, spending some time in a hot tub or a sauna. That might actually be a better choice at that point in time for you. However, we a lot of times don't have the courtesy of time and the privilege of time to be able to do all the things we would want to do to effectively, as they say, reduce stress. So I'm going to be more of a fan of a two-phase approach, three-phase approach, where the first phase is, can we eliminate the stress? Can we eliminate it? Uh, Now, when I first say that, some people are like, well, no, this is my life, is my what it is. And I don't disagree with you, but I want you to question that mindset. I was very much that way. This is my job. This is what I do. These are the people in my life. This is what I have. And just suck it up, buttercup. Just go. And that didn't serve me too well. So I terminated toxic relationships, and that helped tremendously. I changed jobs, still in a very stressful job, but from a relative stress perspective, I went from a 23 to a 10. Uh, still more stress than I should have been putting myself under, but considerably better than it was. And so I went through that process of basically eliminating or changing out that stress. Eventually, getting laid off from that other job, I just decided that that stress wasn't worth it anymore, and I didn't go back to that job, that career, because that career was just going to be stressful. It inherent in that career to be stressful. So I wasn't going to take that anymore. So I did eliminate that job. And then we were looking at our house in Florida. It was in Hurricane Central. Uh, every year from June to November, there was just this, are we going to get hit this year? And in fact, the year after we sold the house, it was hit by a hurricane and then a tornado and then a hurricane. That house is still damaged, and it would still be damaged if I was living there. Uh, it sort of looks like it's livable, but again, not stress I really needed. So selling that house and moving to Panama, again, a complete departure, a move away from stress. Now, I know most people can't just eliminate stress, but if you get a choice number one, eliminate the stress. Okay, second is to mitigate the stress, meaning, okay, the less amount of time you have to spend around toxic people, the less amount of time that you have to do some of the more stressful things, and then taking breaks, getting yourself away from those things so that you're getting time to recover. Let that cortisol come down. Let your body get back to more of a homeostasis balance that's not a 100% on stress environment. Taking breaks, taking your holidays, all of those things, really, really important. So that's the second one, is kind of mitigate those stresses. And then the final one would then be managing them. So if you're going to have a really stressful day, utilizing good things to manage that stress. So these are healthful things. Alcohol is not a good stress reducer. In fact, all it really does is emphasize the stress. All the hormones that would be there for stress are still there. All the messaging of stress is still there, and some, because now you've added a toxin to the mix. You've added calories to the mix. Your cortisol is high. You're going to store more body fat. So again, alcohol is not the answer to your stress. Um, I understand it. I've used it. It's not the right answer. I can just tell you right now. But doing things like yoga and deep breathing meditation and time in a sauna, time reading fiction, time in nature, all of those will help you take that stress level down. And the more you can keep your stress level down, the better you're going to be. And so, again, you can eliminate the stress, you can mitigate the stress, or you can do things to address the stress. But you need to do something, because that stress is a communication to your body that things are not right. And in our current day, current environment, that's a problem, because we don't get those breaks. We don't have the bear and then no bear situation where most of our life is a no bear situation. We're in a situation where mostly we're in a bear situation, and that's not healthful. So if you're looking at optimizing your health, we've got to talk about your stress level. You got to work on that. So with that, that's today. Tomorrow we'll meet again around 10 o'clock. Hopefully I'll be on time. I don't think I have a meeting before this one, so shouldn't be a problem. But tomorrow we'll talk about self-talk, which is a similar topic, but in and of itself, it's a very, very important aspect of the communication that our body makes and gets to know whether it's safe to lose weight, to improve, to optimize our health. So with that, I'll say have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you tomorrow.